Surah 22. Al-Hajj. Context. Period of revelation. As this surah contains the characteristics of both the Meccan and the Medinan surahs, the commentators have differed as to its period of revelation. But in the light of its style and themes, we are of the opinion that a part of it, verses 1 to 24, was sent down in the last stage of the Meccan life of the Prophet, a little before migration, and the rest verses 25 to 78, during the first stage of his Medinan life. That is why this surah combines the characteristics of both the Meccan and the Medinan surahs. According to Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Qatada and other great commentators, verse 39 is the first verse that grants the Muslims permission to wage war. Collections of hadith, and books on the life of the Prophet, confirm that after this permission, actual preparations for war were started, and the first expedition was sent to the coast of the Red Sea, in Safar II after Hijrah, which is known as the expedition of Wadan, or Al-Abwa. The subject matter and theme. This surah is addressed to: Number 1. The polytheists of Mecca. Number 2. The wavering Muslims. And Number 3. The true believers. The polytheists have been warned in a forceful manner to this effect: you have obdurately and impudently persisted in your ideas of ignorance, and trusted in your deities instead of God, though they possess no power at all, and you have repudiated the divine messenger. Now you will meet the same end, as has been the doom of those like you before. You have only harmed yourselves by rejecting our Prophet, and by persecuting the best element of your own community. Now your false deities shall not be able to save you from the wrath of God. At the same time, they have been admonished time and again, for their creed of polytheism, shirk, and sound arguments have been given in favor of monotheism, tawheed, and the hereafter. The wavering Muslims, who had embraced Islam but were not prepared to endure any hardship in its way, have been admonished to this effect: what is this faith of yours? On the one hand, you are ready to believe in God and become His servants, provided you are given peace and prosperity. But on the other, if you meet with afflictions and hardships in His way, you discard your God and cease to remain His servant. You should bear in mind that this wavering attitude of yours cannot avert those misfortunes and losses which God has ordained for you. As regards the true believers, they have been addressed in two ways. Number 1. In a general way, so as to include the common people of Arabia also, and Number 2. In an exclusive way. The believers have been told that the polytheists of Mecca had no right to debar them from visiting the holy mosque. They had no right to prevent anyone from performing Hajj, because the holy mosque was not their private property. This objection was not only justified, but it also acted as an effective political weapon against the Quraysh. For it posed this question to the other clans of Arabia: were the Quraysh mere attendants of the holy mosque, or its owners? It implied that if they succeeded in debarring the Muslims from Hajj, without any protest from others, they would feel encouraged in future to debar from Hajj and Umrah the people of any other clan who happened to have strained relations with the Quraysh. In order to emphasize this point, the history of the construction of the Holy Mosque has been cited, to show that it was built by Prophet Abraham by the command of God, and he had invited all the peoples to perform Hajj there. That is why those coming from outside had enjoyed equal rights by the local people, from the very beginning. It has also been made clear that that house had not been built for the rituals of polytheism, shirk, but for the worship of one God. Thus, it was sheer tyranny that the worship of God was being forbidden there, while the worship of idols enjoyed full license. In order to counteract the tyranny of the Quraysh, the Muslims were allowed to fight with them. They were also given instructions to adopt the right and just attitude, as and when they acquired power to rule in the land. Moreover, the believers have been officially given the name of Muslims, saying, "You are the real heirs to Abraham, and you have been chosen to become witnesses of the truth before mankind. Therefore, you should establish prayer salah, and pay the financial obligations zakat in order to become the best models of righteous life, and perform jihad for propagating the word of God.
Verses 41, 77 and 78.
It will be worthwhile to keep in view the introductions to Surah 2, al-Baqarah, and Surah 8, al-Anfal. Surah 22, al-Hajj. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. O mankind, fear your Lord, indeed the convulsion of the hour is a mighty thing. On the day you will see every breastfeeding female neglect what she is breastfeeding, and every pregnant female shall lay down her load, and you will see the people appearing intoxicated, while they are not intoxicated, but the punishment of God is severe. And of the people is he who disputes about God without knowledge, and follows every rebellious devil. It has been decreed for him, every devil, that whoever turns to him, he will misguide him, and will lead him to the punishment of the blaze. O people, if you should be in doubt about the resurrection, then consider that indeed we created you from dust, then from a sperm drop, then from a clinging clot, and then from a lump of flesh, formed and unformed, that we may show you, and we settle in the wombs whom we will, for a specified term, then we bring you out as a child, and then we develop you that you may reach your time of maturity. And among you is he who is taken in early death, and among you is he who is returned to the most decrepit old age, so that he knows, after once having knowledge, nothing. And you see the earth barren, but when we send down upon it rain, it quivers and swells, and grows something of every beautiful kind. That is because God is the truth, and because he gives life to the dead, and because he is over all things competent. And that they may know that the hour is coming, no doubt about it, and that God will resurrect those in the graves. And of the people is he who disputes about God, without knowledge, or guidance, or an enlightening book from him, turning his neck away to mislead others from the way of God. For him in the world is disgrace, and we will make him taste on the day of resurrection the punishment of the burning fire, while it is said, that is for what your hands have put forth, and because God is not ever unjust to his servants. And of the people is he who worships God, upon the edge. If he is touched by good, he is reassured by it. But if he is struck by trial, he turns on his face to the other direction. He has lost this world and the hereafter. That is what is the manifest loss. He invokes instead of God that which neither harms him, nor benefits him. That is what is the extreme error. He invokes one whose harm is closer than his benefit. How wretched the protector and how wretched the associate. Indeed God will admit those who believe and do righteous deeds, to gardens beneath which rivers flow. Indeed God does what he intends. Whoever should think that God will not support him, Prophet Muhammad, in this world and the hereafter, let him extend a rope to the sky, then cut it off, and see whether his effort can really remove what enrages him. And thus have we sent it, the Quran, down as verses of clear evidence, and because God guides whom he wills. Indeed those who have believed, and those who were Jews, and the Sabians, and the Christians, and the Magians, and those who associated with God, God will judge between them on the day of resurrection. Indeed God is, over all things, witness. Do you not see, no, that to God prostrates whoever is in the heavens, and whoever is on the earth, and the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains, the trees, the moving creatures, and many of the people? But upon many, the punishment has been justified. And he, whom God humiliates, for him there is no bestower of honor. Indeed God does what he wills. These are two adversaries, who have disputed over their Lord. But those who disbelieved, will have cut out for them garments of fire. Poured upon their heads will be scalding water, by which is melted, that within their bellies and their skins. And for striking them are maces of iron. Every time they want to get out of it, hellfire. From anguish, they will be returned to it, and it will be said, taste the punishment of the burning fire. Indeed, God will admit those who believe and do righteous deeds to gardens beneath which rivers flow. They will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold and pearl, and their garments therein will be silk. And they had been guided in worldly life to good speech, and they were guided to the path of the praiseworthy. Indeed, those who have disbelieved, and prevent people from the way of God, and from al-Masjid al-Haram which we made for the people, equal are the resident therein, and one from outside, and also whoever intends a deed, therein, of deviation in religion or wrongdoing, we will make him taste of a painful punishment. And mention, O Muhammad, when we designated for Abraham the site of the house, saying, do not associate anything with me, and purify my house for those who perform tawaf, and those who stand in prayer, and those who bow and prostrate. And proclaim to the people the Hajj pilgrimage. They will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every deep path, that they may witness benefits for themselves, and mention the name of God, on known, specific days over what He has provided for them of sacrificial animals, so eat of them and feed the miserable poor. Then let them end their untidiness and fulfill their vows, and perform tawaf around the ancient house. That has been commanded, and whoever honors the sacred ordinances of God, it is best for him in the sight of his Lord, and permitted to you are the grazing livestock, except what is recited to you. So avoid the uncleanliness of idols, and avoid false statement, inclining only to God, not associating anything with Him. And he who associates with God, it is as though he had fallen from the sky, and was snatched by the birds, or the wind carried him down into a remote place. That is so. And whoever honors the symbols, rites, of God, indeed it is from the piety of hearts. For you therein, the animals marked for sacrifice, are benefits for a specified term, then their place of sacrifice is at the ancient house. And for all religion we have appointed a rite of sacrifice, that they may mention the name of God, over what He has provided for them, of sacrificial animals. For your God is one God, so to Him submit. And O Muhammad, give good tidings to the humble before their Lord, who when God is mentioned, their hearts are fearful, and to the patient, over what has afflicted them, and the establishers of prayer, and those who spend from what we have provided them. And the camels and cattle we have appointed for you as among the symbols, rites, of God, for you therein, is good. So mention the name of God upon them when lined up for sacrifice, and when they are lifeless on their sides, then eat from them. And feed the needy who does not seek aid, and the beggar. Thus have we subjected them to you that you may be grateful. Their meat will not reach God, nor will their blood, but what reaches Him is piety from you. Thus have we subjected them to you, that you may glorify God, for that to which He has guided you, and give good tidings to those who strive for excellence. Indeed, God defends those who have believed. Indeed, God does not like everyone treacherous and ungrateful. Permission to fight has been given to those who are being fought, because they were wronged. And indeed God is competent to give them victory. They are those who have been evicted from their homes, without right, only because they say, Our Lord is God. And were it not that God checks the people, some by means of others, there would have been demolished monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques in which the name of God is much mentioned, praised. And God will surely support those who support Him. His cause, indeed God is powerful and exalted in might. And they are those who, if we give them authority in the land, establish prayer and give zakat, and enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. And to God belongs the outcome of all matters. And if they deny you, O Muhammad, so, before them, did the people of Noah, and Ad, and Thamud deny their prophets, and the people of Abraham and the people of Lot, and the inhabitants of Madian. And Moses was denied, so I prolonged enjoyment for the disbelievers. Then I seized them, and how terrible was my reproach. And how many a city did we destroy, while it was committing wrong, So it is now fallen into ruin, and how many an abandoned well, and how many a lofty palace, so have they not traveled through the earth, and have hearts by which to reason, and ears by which to hear. For indeed it is not eyes that are blinded, but blinded are the hearts which are within the breasts. And they urge you to hasten the punishment. But God will never fail in his promise. And indeed a day with your Lord is like 1,000 years of those which you count. And for how many a city did I prolong enjoyment, while it was committing wrong? Then I seized it, and to me is the final destination. Say, O people, I am only to you a clear warner. And those who have believed and done righteous deeds, for them is forgiveness and noble provision. But the ones who strove against our verses, seeking to frustrate, thwart, them, those are the companions of hellfire. And we did not send before you any messenger, or prophet, except that when he spoke or recited, Satan threw into it some misunderstanding. But God abolishes that which Satan throws in. Then God makes precise his verses, and God is knowing, and wise. That is so he may make what Satan throws in, asserts, a trial for those within whose hearts is disease, and those hard of heart. And indeed the wrongdoers are in extreme dissension. And so those who were given knowledge, may know that it is the truth from your Lord and therefore believe in it, and their hearts humbly submit to it. And indeed is God the guide of those who have believed to a straight path. But those who disbelieve will not cease to be in doubt of it, until the hour comes upon them unexpectedly, or there comes to them the punishment of a barren day. All sovereignty that day is for God, he will judge between them. So, they who believed and did righteous deeds, will be in the gardens of pleasure. And they who disbelieved, and denied our signs, for those there will be a humiliating punishment. And those who emigrated for the cause of God, and then were killed or died, God will surely provide for them a good provision. And indeed it is God, who is the best of providers. He will surely cause them to enter an entrance, with which they will be pleased, and indeed God is knowing and forbearing. That is so. And whoever retaliates with the equivalent of that with which he was harmed, and thereafter is oppressed, God will surely help him. Indeed God is pardoning and forgiving. That is because God causes the night to enter the day, and causes the day to enter the night, and because God is hearing and seeing. That is because God is the truth, and that which they call upon other than him is falsehood, and because God is the Most High, the Grand. Do you not see that God has sent down rain from the sky, and the earth becomes green? Indeed God is subtle and acquainted, to him belongs what is in the heavens, and what is on the earth. And indeed God is the free of need, the praiseworthy. Do you not see that God has subjected to you whatever is on the earth, and the ships which run through the sea by his command? And he restrains the sky from falling upon the earth, unless by his permission. Indeed God, to the people, is kind and merciful. And he is the one who gave you life, then he causes you to die, and then will again give you life. Indeed the human being is ungrateful. For every religion, we have appointed rites which they perform. So O Muhammad, let them, the disbelievers, not contend with you over the matter, but invite them to your Lord. Indeed you are upon straight guidance. And if they dispute with you, then say, God is most knowing of what you do. God will judge between you on the day of resurrection, concerning that over which you used to differ. Do you not know, that God knows what is in the heaven and the earth? Indeed that is in a record, indeed that, for God, is easy. And they worship besides God, that for which he has not sent down authority, and that of which they have no knowledge. And there will not be for the wrongdoers any helper. And when our verses are recited to them as clear evidences, you recognize in the faces of those who disbelieve, disapproval. They are almost on the verge of assaulting those who recite to them our verses. Say, then shall I inform you of what is worse than that? It is the fire which God has promised those who disbelieve, and wretched is the destination. O people, an example is presented, so listen to it. Indeed those you invoke besides God, will never create as much as a fly, even if they gathered together for it, that purpose. And if the fly should steal from them a tiny thing, they could not recover it from him. Weak are the pursuer and pursued, and they did not appreciate God as he deserves to be appreciated. Indeed, God is powerful and exalted in might. God chooses from the angels, messengers, and from the people. Indeed, God is hearing and seeing. He knows what is presently before them, and what will be after them, and to God will be returned all matters. O you, who have believed, bow, and prostrate and worship your Lord, and do good that you may succeed. And strive for God with the striving due to Him. He has chosen you, and has not placed upon you in the religion any difficulty. It is the religion of your father, Abraham. He, God, named you Muslims before in former scriptures, and in this revelation, that the messenger may be a witness over you, and you may be witnesses over the people. So establish prayer and give zakat, and hold fast to God. He is your protector, and excellent is the protector, and excellent is the helper.